y'all? It's your girl Zai, and this is Get It Together. I'm your host, Zaisha, but I go by Zai, and this is my co-host.
Hey guys, my name is Lakibra. I'm super happy to be here.
I'm so glad that you did this with me.
Yes.
So the topic for today is all about taking care of yourself, showing up for yourself. And as women and also men, you have to show up for yourself.
You
so
do.
Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the way I think about showing up for yourself, right? I think about doing whatever you can do to better yourself in some way, shape, or form. Like using your tools. Basically what I mean by that is like doing the things that only you can do for yourself. For example, if you want to go to the gym, use your tools by getting up every day and setting your own set workout. And just going by that workout and just leaving it at that. You know what I mean? Like you gotta do what's comfortable for you. But it's just about showing, like, just being that for yourself, showing up for yourself, saying, this is me, I'm her, I'm here, you know what I mean? And just doing that. So, yeah, using your tools, most definitely. You doing what you know you can do, not what you see somebody else doing.
Yeah.
Doing what you know you can do for yourself to better yourself.
Yeah, and I think, like, with me, I start to show up for myself more when I start to really dive deep into, like, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, what triggers me.
Yes. You have to figure that out.
Yes, because like a lot of times we go into things and go into issues and like we don't really know why.
Right.
But the why is already within us, so we have to like, tap into that. So like I could just give an example for me growing up, I come from a single parent household, and so like a lot of times, like the independent woman, like
it's like stamped on you. It's like this is what you are.
Like the independent woman, like phrase is like me, but it's all I know. But I know I'm much more than that because, like, as a woman, I don't want to just be strong all the time because I'm not. Like I'm very.
You gotta enter your soft girl era.
Yes.
You gotta not be so, and not to cut you off, but like I feel like coming from where you come from, and I feel like even sometimes, not even coming from household, like just always feeling like you gotta again show up for yourself. It makes you kind of dominant. It makes you feel like I gotta be independent. I gotta do everything on my own. But sometimes you just want to sit back and be a girl, like just in your soft girl era. And it's not even just about soft girl because I hate this like thing we try to put on people nowadays. Like you gotta enter your soft girl era. You gotta be that girl, but you can still be a normal girl and still show up for yourself and still want to not have that dominance in you. Just want to be soft, just kind of let things flow. One thing I did learn when it comes to romanticizing yourself, one thing I learned is that it's self-compliments. Like if somebody tries to do something for you, let them. Like that's some ways you can kind of like get away from that dominant persona and kind of move into that a feminine that feminine energy. And I feel like that's how you show up for yourself too, because it makes you feel good. Doing anything that makes you feel good is showing up for yourself.
And then also too, just to chime in on when you said feminine energy, like feminine energy shouldn't be for a man. It should be for yourself.
Exactly.
Like, you should do things for yourself, and you should want to do it for yourself. Not because like, I gotta impress somebody. And I feel like a lot of times that's where we all can fall short. Like, trying to impress people, trying to be like, like I gotta make this person like me, or
I make this person happy.
Yeah. And like I know I have done that like so many times. Like, really just trying to like care about other people's feelings when I really just wasn't really fully caring about mine. So,
and one way that I learned, so like last year, speaking from personal experience, y'all, it's personal experience. I was going through a breakup, and in that breakup, I was told many things about myself that you never want to hear nothing about yourself. But being a real woman, I took it in. I took accountability. I started going to therapy. And then one thing my therapist told me was like, you need to be bettering yourself for you, not for him. Because I caught myself trying to fix all these things so we can fix our relationship and just so it can go back to how it used to be, and it wasn't working that way. Yeah. And then I learned, yes, I need to do it for me so that I can have this for me, and then whoever I end up with, they'll just get to see that side of me. So like, for example, like you said you grew up in a single parent household. I grew up with, both of my parents, but I was very codependent on them. I'm very spoiled. So it's just like a lot of things they've done for me, and somebody else could probably like relate to me on this, but they always done things for me. I really never had to fend for myself. So that caused me to always be codependent on other people, whether it was my friends or my boyfriend. So like my ex, I always felt like I needed him around to be happy.
Yeah.
And then when I realized when we broke up, I'm like, no, he doesn't like. And that's when I really started showing up for myself, and I started valuing the feeling of being alone. Not alone is like, oh, I'm lonely. Just being in my own space, realizing the things. I feel like the best relationships are the relationships where you got your own thing going on, he got his own thing going on, y'all come together and y'all make each other extra happy. Like extra, it's not making your happiness, it's adding on to it. So part of showing up for yourself, like you said, is doing stuff for you and not for that other person. Bettering you for you and not for anybody else but you.
Yeah.
So,
and I think with me, like, the first step that I took was healing.
yeah.
Like, healing.
Talk about the healing process. Talk about the healing process, because it's not as easy as people try to make it seem.
Yes,
because I'm
really
going
not.
through.
It's really not. So, like, in the past, I really haven't dated many guys, but I noticed that when I was dating guys that they had, and this is like figurative language, they reminded me of my dad. Like, a lot of ways, and like, of course, when you in it, you don't think about it. Like, no, we just vibing, you know, we be vibing. So yes, like, but when I just took the time out and I just realized, like, wow, I do have daddy issues, and I feel like with that, it kind of like led me to having abandonment issues. Because like, even though my father was there for me financially, I really wish he was there for me more, like
give you that loving nature and care that a father is supposed to give a daughter.
Exactly. So like, of course, when you don't have that type of love, you start looking for it in the wrong places.
Other people, yeah.
Or how I feel about one thing about God, I feel like God, he gonna show you, he gonna make sure that he gonna keep, like, he gonna keep showing you until you just be like, all right, it's time for me to heal. Because like, I know for a fact I resented my daddy so much. And it was one day I was working, and I was working security, and what I did was I got a sheet of paper and I just wrote my heart out. Like, I really just, it was like me writing a letter to him, even though like I knew he wasn't really gonna react to it.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I sent him, like, I typed up the letter, and I ended up sending it to him.
Wow.
And the response wasn't really
that
what I
takes
wanted.
A lot of courage.
Yes,
that takes a lot of courage.
Yes, it really wasn't what I wanted, but it was something. Like, at least I had got that healing for myself. And one thing I want to say before, I continue the story, it's like, healing is not for other people, it's for yourself. Because one thing about life is what you make it. Like, you have your own reality of life.
Right.
Everybody, like, I can sit here right now and I can say, well, I'm gonna use Atlanta for an example. Like, I can see Atlanta as being like the best place on earth for me, and then like for you, it's like you could probably be like,
Atlanta's not the best place
like,
for me.
Ain't it? No,
but
it's
not it.
It's your form of your reality. So like, that's just how I look at it. So I just remember me telling him, like, I'm sorry I forgive you. I forgive you, but not for you. It's for me.
Exactly. I'm glad you're saying that.
And then also too, you have to look at like the things of like coming up as a child and coming into an adult. Like, my parents had to endure stuff that, silent cries.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't even know about. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So like, it's stuff that our parents and stuff go through that we don't know about.
Recognize,
and they're not healed. So
Right.
oftentimes when a person isn't healed, they can bring that onto you
yeah.
without even noticing, without, you know what I'm saying? So
and
yeah.
I'm glad you said that about the parenting part too, because like, going back to the codependent part, like, my mom, she was very spoiled, and me and my mom were completely different when it comes to like how we act and all that stuff. But she even told me, because during like my breakup process, I never understood the phrase, like, what you deal with is what you allow in yourself. Like, it reflects the self-love you have for yourself. But I used to think, like, just because this happened in my relationship, how does it show that I don't love myself? And my mom was like, take me for an example. When I go off, basically, like, my mom, y'all, she has a short temper. And when she goes off, she was just like, she doesn't. So when she goes off, she was like, that's a form of me not loving myself. Because if I love myself, I wouldn't even allow myself to get out of character like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow. And then what I was getting at is I see like stuff that she does, I see that I do it too. So like when something happened, I snap. And it shouldn't be like that. I started loving myself and just really focusing and hinging on why do I react this way when certain stuff happens, or why do I react this way when this person says these certain words to me. And then that's when I started to heal from it. It's like we said, it's super, super important to heal from things, because you take that thing and you put it onto other people, your partner, your friends, your family, like it just goes and
yeah. Oh my god. And like I want to talk about making the identity switch, because a lot of times, like when we grow up, we are really taught what our parents know.
No, yeah.
So like, say for instance, like you like the color purple, because you say your mama like loving the color purple. Yeah. So like now all of a sudden you like the color purple. So like it's just all about really just finding your own identity. So I want to ask you, since you are living alone now, like how is it finding your own identity now? Like what's the challenge?
The challenge with living alone and finding my own identity is like I struggle with, because you know we always say, oh, I know myself, I love myself, and that's what I caught myself doing. I'm like, oh, I love myself, blah 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 blah. But then when I really sat in my room alone with nobody else in there, and I had to think about it, like, how do you love yourself? Like, what do you like outside of being with your friends, being with your family? What hobbies do you like? When people ask me what my hobbies are, I just be like, it's like a blank space for me. You know what I mean? So I think the biggest challenge with like living alone is recognizing you're in this by yourself now. You gotta find what works for you. You gotta go out and do things that make you happy, because when you don't, you're gonna wake up every day and you're just gonna exist, and that's not the way to be. And that's why I found myself doing so many times, just waking up, going through my day and existing, watching TikTok all day. That's not gonna get me nowhere. So I had to get up and I had to start finding things that make me happy. So that's kind of like how I'm finding myself, just dabbling little into things. And like even like we talked about this, like going out by myself. Yeah. You know, I'm always used to going with a crowd, or excuse me, y'all, I have a little cough. I keep doing that, so don't say anything. You know, trying to go out by myself and stuff like that, and getting used to that whole thing. I feel like that's another way I kind of like trying to find my identity and kind of find, you know, what it is I like and what I want to do, and the type of people I want to be around too. Because living in Atlanta, you're gonna meet so many different people. You know, like she said, personally, I don't like Atlanta, but you know, whatever. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So like with me, I went on my first little solo date, official solo date, because I feel like, you know, I was in my hometown, so I really wouldn't even call that like an official. But I feel like when you go outside of your hometown,
yeah,
because of course you know your hometown, you know people,
you know everybody,
but like,
ooh, you know the waitress, the waiter, you know the cook.
Y'all, I went to my very first concert,
Taylor
concert, and I met so many amazing people. Shout out to y'all if y'all watch this video. So yes, and it was just a ball. Like I really had to tap into like being uncomfortable. I learned to really
talk about that.
Yes, like I'm really learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because, excuse me, the thing that you are scared of doing the most can be like your
biggest blessing.
Like, oh my God, just me going to that concert alone, like it really just made me want to just go harder in my business, go harder. Like even I feel like that concert really made me really want to get back into dancing more. Like I feel like I was going through like a dancing block.
Yeah, people go through that though. They go through that. People who dance for a long time, they go through that. They really do.
So I was like, oh my God. It was like after that concert, it just gave me so much motivation.
Like,
and that's my girl.
Yeah.
I love me some Tiana Taylor.
TT.
Yes, I love me some Tiana Taylor. So I was like, yes, I gotta get back into it. So
yeah,
I feel like also too, when you go on solo dates, people, they really tend to like learn you and just you. Like, and it's no shade to like you being in a group, but I feel like people, they really just gravitate towards you because you're alone.
And I love that you said that, because I've noticed like when I go out with my friends, for instance, like we'll go out and like, you know, me will try to talk to us and stuff like that, but like they're not talking to everybody in the group. So then sometimes you get to that thing of like, you know, why nobody talking to me? Like, you know, you start feeling like self-conscious a little bit, like, why nobody talking to me? Why he not coming up to me or whatever. But I feel like when you by yourself, it's just you. So the energy, the vibe, the everything that you give off is purely just about you. And I heard, and we talked about this too, when you are by yourself, people talk to you like it's nothing. Like people just coming up to you talking to you. You don't know who you meet, who you will network with. And like you said, even you just going to the concert by yourself, it gave you motivation to really be on your stuff. And even though I don't like Atlanta, when I do go out, you know, and just even just looking at the city, I'm like, dang, like there's so much that happens in this area, this location, coming from where we come from, and it just motivates me to want to do everything that I want to do. So I get what you're saying. That's another way you can show up for yourself, just simply by doing things that takes you out of your comfort zone. Like for me, I don't like change. I notice that, but I don't like change at all. Like even if it's a change in terms of like the time I wake up in the morning, it makes me feel weird. But now I'm like going back to your, how does it feel like living by yourself? Like now I'm trying to adapt to change, knowing things are not gonna always be the same, knowing things are going to be different, you know, and just becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I feel like it's a part of growth. Part of growth, showing up for yourself is just being uncomfortable. You know.
Oh, and you know what? I gotta make it, you know. I gotta make it. One thing about being uncomfortable with, but being comfortable with being uncomfortable, you gotta stand on business.
You do. 10 toes.
Stand on business. Hey, stand on business. When I tell you, like, recently I had to cut some people off, and God knows I love them. God knows I love them. But like when people no longer serve you,
right,
you have to show up for yourself. You can't keep
allowing boundaries.
Boundaries. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Talk about boundaries. So I just said I hope I don't do that while this video is going on. Excuse me guys, don't be commenting. Oh my gosh, she must have, I don't have COVID. I just have a little COVID. So one thing I learned about boundaries is, and this goes hand in hand with showing up for yourself. Like you cannot set certain boundaries for yourself and then allow people to cross it. I'm gonna give y'all an example. If you have on your front door, take off your shoes when you come in this house, right? And they say one of your friends come over and they don't take off their shoes, they just walk in the house or whatever, and you let it slide. You cannot be mad when other people do the same thing and step over you because you allowed that person to do it the first time. When you feel like your boundaries are crossed, no matter what they are, stand on business right then and there and say, no, my sign says take off your shoes at the door. And they can make it seem like, oh, you trying to be too bougie, you trying to be too clean. They can try to down you into feeling like it's too much. But if those are your boundaries, stick to it. If they can't respect it, and it's easier said than done because I'm the type of person, I can't cut people off easily. Like it's super hard for me.
It's hard now.
It's hard. So it's like,
it ain't easy.
But it's just like, it comes with respect and showing up for yourself. Just, you know, sticking to your boundaries and what you allow for yourself. And I know like standing on business, like that's like a little catchphrase, a little funny, but that's really what it is. You gotta stand on 10 toes and let people know like these are my boundaries. Don't play with me. Even when it comes to the people that you hang around. If somebody you hang around is always gossiping, and your boundary is you don't want to sit around and gossip, but you stick in that space and you even if you're just sitting there, you cannot be mad if that person talks about you because you already knew what it was. So at the end of the day, all you really doing is you gotta blame yourself. At the end of the day, you gotta take accountability, like I said in the beginning, and say this is what I allow. I let this person cross my boundaries, and now I'm dealing with this. That goes for friendships, especially in relationships. That goes for family, because sometimes you gotta cut family off. It's sad, but it's like sometimes you even got it when they're doing too much. So that's what I gotta say about boundaries. Don't let people cross the boundaries that you have set for yourself.
And then also too, like the people around you and your environment is a reflection of you. So how is your room? How is the people that you're hanging with? Do they bring value? Do they just sit around not do nothing? Like what do they do? Because ideally, you know, we saying, well, just because they doing it, that doesn't mean I'm doing it. But still, like you're around it, so it can rub off on you.
It's gonna reflect in form.
Yes. So like that's another thing, and also like with boundaries too. I just feel like you just really gotta stand your ground with boundaries for real. And if, like you said, if people can't respect it, then so be it. Right. But it's so hard. It's hard to let it go. Yeah. But one thing about it, like I've learned over the years, people are not meant to be in your life forever. Like not everybody. Right. You have seasonal people, And one thing that I have done, I have let seasonal people that I knew in my heart and in my spirit that was seasonal people. I just let them stay in my life because I just love them so much. You know, like, and I just wanted to work out. I'm just the type of person. I'm just like, I don't want to give up on nobody.
Yeah, I'm so guilty.
But you know what? People have given up on me.
Right.
And that's the sad part.
And that's going back to showing up for yourself. Like, if people giving up on you and you still don't want to give up on that person, you got to choose yourself at the end of the day because they're choosing their self. So you got to learn to choose yourself at the end of the day.